In the vast, star-strewn expanse of the galaxy, where empires rose and fell like shooting stars, there existed a force unmatched in its precision and power. Zara, the cosmic fleet leader of Zerathia, commanded the heavens with an iron will wrapped in silken grace. Her hair cascaded like streams of moonlight, pure white and shimmering under the glow of holographic displays, framing a face of ethereal beauty, pale skin that seemed to absorb the light of distant nebulae, and delicate, pointed ears that twitched ever so slightly at the hum of her flagship's engines. She moved through the corridors of her vessel, the Stellar Dominion, in attire that blended regal elegance with tantalizing allure, a form-fitting suit of iridescent fabric that hugged her curvaceous figure, accentuating every sway of her hips and the subtle curve of her waist, leaving just enough to the imagination to command respect or desire from those who served her. Zara was no mere admiral. She was a legend whispered across the void, born from the ancient bloodlines of Zerathia, a realm of crystalline worlds orbiting a binary star. She had led her people through countless wars, her strategies as flawless as the orbit of a perfect planet. Her fleet, a symphony of sleek, obsidian-hulled warships, had crushed rebellions, forged alliances, and expanded Zerathia's influence to the edges of known space. Aliens from 100 species bowed before her, their voices trembling in awe. She was the embodiment of strength, a goddess of war who had never tasted defeat. Her eyes, a piercing violet that could pierce through the armor of any foe, held the secrets of battles won and enemies vanquished. Yet, beneath that unyielding exterior, there lay a heart untouched by the softer tempests of emotion until the day humanity entered her orbit. It began with a distress signal, faint and insistent, cutting through the static of the cosmos like a siren's call. Zara's fleet was patrolling the neutral zone near the Sol system, a backwater cluster of planets that her scouts had dismissed as primitive. Earth, they said, was home to a species still bound to their single world, squabbling over resources while the stars beckoned. But the signal was unlike any other, a plea for aid from a human vessel adrift in the asteroid fields of what they called the Kuiper Belt. "This is the Terran diplomatic shuttle Odyssey." The message crackled over the comms. "We've sustained critical damage from micrometeor impacts, life support failing, requesting immediate assistance from any nearby vessels." Zara leaned forward in her command throne, her fingers tracing the armrests etched with Zerathian runes. Her officers, a mix of her kin with similar elfin features and loyal subjects from conquered worlds, awaited her command. "Primitive fools," she murmured, her voice a melodic whisper that carried the weight of authority. "They venture into the void unprepared, and now they beg for salvation." But curiosity stirred within her, a rare flicker in her otherwise calculated mind. Humanity had intrigued the galactic councils with their rapid ascent, their ingenuity turning scrap into starships. Perhaps this was an opportunity to assess them up close, to weave them into Zerathia's web of influence. "Engage tractor beams," she ordered, her tone leaving no room for debate. "Bring them aboard. I will handle the interrogation personally." As the Odyssey was pulled into the Dominion's massive hangar bay, Zara descended from her bridge, her steps echoing like Destiny's March. The human ship was a battered relic compared to her fleet's grandeur, scratched hull plating, flickering lights, and a design that screamed resourcefulness over elegance. When the airlock hissed open, a group of disheveled humans stumbled out, their eyes widening at the sight of her. Among them was Eli, the lead diplomat from Earth, tall and broad-shouldered, with tousled dark hair and eyes the color of storm-tossed oceans. He carried himself with a quiet confidence that set him apart from his rattled crew. His uniform, though torn, bore the insignia of the United Earth Federation, and in his hand, he clutched a data pad filled with pleas for mercy. As Zara approached, flanked by her guards, Eli stepped forward, his gaze meeting hers without flinching. There was something in that look, bold, unyielding, that sent an unfamiliar shiver down her spine. "Admiral Zara of Zerathia," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "On behalf of humanity, we thank you for your intervention. I'm Eli Voss, chief negotiator. We were en route to a peace summit when—" "Spare me the details," Zara interrupted, violet eyes narrowing. "You intrude on our borders. Explain why I shouldn't classify you as spies and dismantle your vessel for parts." Her words were sharp, designed to intimidate, but he didn't cower. Instead, he smiled, a genuine, warm curve of his lips that caught her off guard. "You're even more impressive in person than the holovids suggest," he replied, his tone laced with admiration. "Those eyes, They're like amethysts caught in starlight. And that poise, it's adorable how you command the room without even trying. Adorable, the word hung in the air like a misplaced comet. Zara's pointed ears flushed a faint pink, a reaction she hadn't experienced since her youth. Her mind, usually a fortress of logic, faltered. Adorable, she, the scourge of galaxies, the unyielding blade of Zerathia. The hangar seemed to tilt, her officers exchanging puzzled glances as she stood there, momentarily speechless. In that instant, the ironclad control she wielded over her fleet wavered, and Eli's crew noticed the subtle shift, the way her hand trembled ever so slightly on her sidearm, but Zara recovered quickly, or so she thought. Flattery will not save you, human, she snapped, though her voice lacked its usual edge. Secure them in the holding cells. I will decide their fate after analysis. As her guards led the humans away, Eli glanced back, that infuriating smile still playing on his lips. Little did Zara know, that single word had cracked the armor around her heart, setting in motion a chain of events that would redefine alliances, ignite passions, and prove that even the mightiest could be undone by the simplest of human charms. As the doors sealed behind the prisoners, Zara retreated to her quarters, the stellar dominion humming around her like a living entity. She paced the opulent chamber, walls adorned with star maps and trophies from vanquished foes. Her reflection in the viewport showed a woman unruffled on the surface, but inside, turmoil brewed. Adorable, the term echoed in her thoughts, foreign and disarming in Zerathian culture. Compliments were tools of diplomacy, laced with hidden agendas, but Elise had felt, sincere, raw, human. She activated her personal console, pulling up data on Earth. Reports flooded in, a species resilient beyond measure, adapting to catastrophes with innovation and sheer willpower. They had colonized their moon, probed distant worlds, and now sought to join the galactic fold. HFY, some called it humanity, fuck yeah, a slang from the fringes, celebrating their audacious spirit. Zara scoffed, but a spark of intrigue ignited. What if this Eli represented more than a stranded diplomat? What if humanity's unpredictability could be an asset or a threat? Hours passed as she reviewed scans of the Odyssey. No weapons of note, just scientific instruments and cultural artifacts. Her advisors urged caution. Humans were known for their cunning. Interrogate them thoroughly, one suggested. Zara nodded, but her mind wandered to Eli's eyes, the way they had locked onto hers with unspoken promise. By the time she summoned him to the interrogation chamber, the fleet had resumed its patrol, stars streaking past like fleeting dreams. The room was dimly lit, holographic restraints binding Eli to a chair that floated midair. Zara entered alone, dismissing her guards, a decision born of curiosity rather than protocol. She circled him slowly, her gowned suit whispering against the floor, the fabric clinging to her form in ways that drew his gaze. Tell me, Eli Voss, she began, leaning close enough for him to catch the faint scent of Zerathian blooms, exotic, intoxicating. What is your true purpose here? Espionage? Conquest? He met her stare, unflinching. Peace, Admiral, we're reaching out to civilizations like yours, but if I'm honest, meeting you has been the highlight. You're not just a leader, you're captivating. That fierce determination mixed with such grace, it's adorable. Really. There it was again. Zara's breath hitched, her cheeks warming beneath her pale skin. She straightened, trying to regain composure, but the word burrowed deeper, awakening sensations long dormant. In Zerathia, emotions were disciplined, channeled into strategy. Yet here, in the presence of this human, she felt exposed, vulnerable and strangely alive. As the interrogation unfolded, Eli spoke of Earth's wonders, vast oceans teeming with life, cities that touched the clouds, and a people who dreamed of stars while cherishing the bonds that tied them. Zara listened, her defenses crumbling with each tale. He described sunsets that painted the sky in hues no alien world could match, and loves that burned brighter than supernovas. We humans, he said softly, we feel deeply, we fight for what we care about, no matter the odds. Zara found herself drawn in, her questions shifting from suspicion to genuine interest. When she finally released his restraints, it wasn't out of mercy, but a desire to see him unbound, to test the spark between them. As he stood, their hands brushed, an accidental touch that sent electric currents through her veins. Join me for a tour of the ship, she offered, her voice a husky murmur. Perhaps your perspective could enlighten me. Eli nodded, his smile widening. Little did either know, this was the beginning of a cosmic entanglement where humanity's charm would challenge Zerathia's might. and love would bloom in the unlikeliest of voids. The tour wound through the Dominion's labyrinthine halls, Zara leading with a poise that masked her inner storm. Eli walked beside her, his presence a grounding force amid the alien splendor. They passed engineering bays where technicians with elfin ears tinkered with warp drives, the air humming with energy fields. "Your technology is light years ahead," Eli remarked, genuine awe in his voice. "But it's the people, the way you command loyalty, that's truly impressive." Zara glanced at him, her violet eyes softening. "Loyalty is earned through strength. What do your people offer? Chaos, emotion?" "Both," he replied, chuckling. "And sometimes that's our greatest weapon." As they entered the observation deck, a vast dome overlooking the stars, Zara paused. The galaxy sprawled before them, a tapestry of light and shadow. For the first time in cycles, she felt small, not diminished, but connected. Eli stepped closer, his hand grazing her arm. "You know, back on Earth, we'd call this a date. Two people sharing wonders, getting to know each other." "A date?" Zara echoed, the word unfamiliar yet intriguing. Her heart raced as he explained rituals of courtship, shared meals, stolen glances. In Zerathia, unions were alliances, calculated for advantage. But this felt organic, thrilling. As the stars wheeled overhead, their conversation deepened. They shared stories of human resilience, surviving plagues, bridging divides, exploring the unknown. Zara, in turn, revealed fragments of her world, the crystalline spires of Zerathia, festivals under dual suns, the weight of command that isolated her from touch. When their fingers intertwined, it was natural, inevitable. Zara's skin tingled at the contact, her body responding in ways she hadn't anticipated. Eli pulled her gently into an embrace, his lips brushing her pointed ear. "You're more than a leader, Zara. You're beautiful, adorable in your strength." The word ignited her anew, but this time, she leaned into it, her lips meeting his in a kiss that bridged worlds. Fireworks exploded in her mind, the taste of him earthy and alive. As they parted, breathless, Zara whispered, "Show me more of this humanity." In that moment, the cosmic fleet leader fumbled not in battle, but in the sweet surrender of desire, setting the stage for a love that would shake the stars. In the hushed glow of the observation deck, where the stars painted silent promises across the infinite canvas, Zara's world tilted on its axis. The kiss lingered on her lips like the aftertaste of a forbidden nebula fruit, sweet, heady, and dangerously addictive. Eli's arms encircled her waist with a gentleness that contrasted the raw power she sensed coiled within him, a human strength born not from augmented armor or genetic enhancements, but from the unyielding spirit of a species that had clawed its way from primordial mud to the cosmos. She pulled back slightly, her violet eyes searching his, breath coming in shallow waves that betrayed the storm brewing inside her. "Eli," she whispered, her voice a silken thread laced with uncertainty. "What sorcery is this? In all my conquests, no weapon has ever pierced me like your words. Your touch." Her fingers traced the line of his jaw, feeling the subtle stubble that spoke of Earth's rugged vitality, so different from the smooth, ethereal perfection of her people. The fabric of her suit shifted against her skin, a reminder of how exposed she felt, her body awakening to sensations long suppressed in the name of duty. He smiled, that disarming curve of his mouth sending a ripple through her core. "No sorcery, Zara, just us, two souls colliding in the void." His hand slid up her back, fingers splaying across the curve where her spine met the swell of her hips, pulling her closer until their bodies pressed together in a heat that rivaled the ship's fusion core. The air between them thickened, charged with an electric tension that made her pointed ears tingle. She could feel the steady thrum of his heartbeat against her chest, a rhythmic counterpoint to the distant hum of the Dominion's engines, as if the universe itself conspired to sync their rhythms. But even as desire coiled tighter, a shadow of suspense crept in. Zara's mind, honed by years of tactical brilliance, whispered warnings. What if this was a ploy? Humans were infamous for their guile. Stories from the galactic archives painted them as masters of deception, turning apparent weakness into victory. Her fleet orbited the fringes of Sol, a hairsbreadth from Earth's defenses. One wrong move, and this intimate moment could unravel into chaos. Yet, the pull was irresistible. Eli's presence was a gravitational force, drawing her in despite the risks. "Show me," she murmured, her lips brushing his ear, eliciting a low groan from him that sent shivers cascading down her spine. "Show me what it means to be human in this way." With a grace that belied her inner turmoil, she led him from the deck, their hands intertwined like vines seeking sunlight. The corridors of the stellar dominion seemed narrower now, the soft lighting casting intimate shadows that danced along the walls. Her officers nodded in deference as they passed, but Zara caught the subtle arch of an eyebrow from her second-in-command, a flicker of curiosity or suspicion that she chose to ignore. For once, the weight of command felt secondary to the fire igniting within her. They reached her private quarters, a sanctuary of opulence hidden behind reinforced bulkheads, the doors sealed with a whisper, enclosing them in a world of plush fabrics and holographic starfields projected on the ceiling. Zara turned to him, her white hair spilling over her shoulders like a cascade of starlight, framing her pale skin that flushed with an uncharacteristic warmth. Her suit, designed for both battle and allure, clung to her form, high collar accentuating the elegant line of her neck. The material sheer in places to hint at the sensual curves beneath, a blend of Zerathian royalty and warrior practicality. She felt his gaze roam appreciatively, not with the cold calculation of an enemy, but with a hunger that mirrored her own. Eli stepped forward, closing the distance until she could feel the heat radiating from his body. "You're breathtaking," he said softly, his voice a caress that made her knees weaken. His fingers traced the edge of her collar, dipping lower to brush the swell of her breast, sending sparks of pleasure through her. Zara gasped, her body arching instinctively toward him, the sensation novel and overwhelming. In Zerathia, physical connections were ritualized, efficient, never this raw, this exploratory. His touch was like exploring uncharted space, tentative at first, then bold, mapping every contour with reverence. She reached for him in return, her hands sliding under his torn uniform, feeling the hard planes of his chest, the scars that told tales of human endurance. "Your skin, it's marked by battles won," she breathed, her nails grazing lightly, drawing a hiss of pleasure from him. The room seemed to pulse with their shared energy, the air growing heavier, scented with the faint ozone of the ship's systems and the earthy musk of his presence. Suspense hung like a veil. Would her crew interrupt? Would her resolve falter? But in this bubble, nothing else mattered. Eli's lips found hers again, deeper this time, a kiss that evolved from tender exploration to fervent need. His tongue danced with hers, tasting of adventure and distant worlds, while his hands roamed freely, cupping her through the thin fabric, thumbs circling in ways that made her moan into his mouth. Zara's world narrowed to the points of contact, the press of his thigh between hers, the way her hips ground against him instinctively, seeking friction that built a delicious pressure. She fumbled with the clasps of her suit, her usual precision lost in the haze of desire, exposing more of her pale, flawless skin to his eager eyes. "You're driving me wild," he growled against her neck, nipping gently at the sensitive spot below her pointed ear, a move that sent jolts straight to her core. She tangled her fingers in his hair, pulling him closer, her body responding with a flood of heat that left her slick and aching. The erotic dance unfolded slowly, suspense building with each layer shed, his shirt discarded to reveal a torso sculpted by Earth's gravity and determination, her suit pooling at her feet like discarded armor, leaving her in nothing but the glow of the holograms. Naked before him, Zara felt a vulnerability that thrilled and terrified. Her body was a masterpiece of Zerathian evolution, lithe yet curvaceous, breasts full and pert, hips flaring in invitation, her white hair a stark contrast against the flushed pink of arousal. Eli's eyes darkened with want as he drank her in, his hands worshipping every inch, trailing down her sides, over the dip of her waist, to the apex of her thighs where he teased with featherlight strokes. "So responsive," he murmured, his voice husky, like a star about to supernova. She pushed him toward the bed, an expansive platform draped in silks that mimicked the nebulae outside, her movements predatory now, fueled by a mix of curiosity and craving. As he lay back, she straddled him, her elf-like ears twitching at the sound of his ragged breathing. The contact of skin on skin was electric, her wetness against his hardness creating a friction that bordered on torment. Suspense peaked as she hovered, teasing, drawing out the moment until neither could bear it. With a shared gasp, she lowered herself, enveloping him in a union that blurred the lines between species, between conqueror and explorer, their rhythm built like a warp jump, slow at first, savoring the exquisite slide, then accelerating into a frenzy of motion. Eli's hands gripped her hips, guiding her while she rode the waves of pleasure, her moans echoing softly in the chamber. Each thrust sent sparks through her, building toward a crest that promised release, but woven into the erotic haze was an undercurrent of danger. Alarms could blare at any moment, her fleet sensors picking up human reinforcements, or worse, her own doubts surfacing. Yet, in Eli's arms, those fears melted, replaced by a profound connection that whispered of possibilities beyond war. As they moved together, bodies slick with sweat, Zara felt something shift deep within, a fusion not just of flesh, but of souls. His whispers of adoration, beautiful, irresistible, adorable in your passion, fueled her, turning vulnerability into power. The suspense of what came next lingered, but for now, in this stolen interlude, they were lost in each other, the stars bearing witness to a love that defied the cold logic of the cosmos. The climax approached like a comet's tail, bright and inevitable. Zara's body tensed, her inner walls clenching around him as waves of ecstasy crashed over her, drawing him with her into the abyss. Eli followed moments later, his release a guttural cry that mingled with hers, their forms collapsing in a tangle of limbs and whispered endearments. In the afterglow, as they lay entwined, hearts slowing to a shared beat, Zara traced patterns on his chest, the erotic fire simmering to a warm ember. But the galaxy waited outside, its threats and wonders pressing in, leaving them on the edge of what might be the greatest adventure or peril of their lives. As the echoes of their shared ecstasy faded into the soft hum of the stellar dominion's life support systems, Zara nestled against Eli's chest, her white hair fanning out like a comet's tail across his skin. The holographic stars above them twinkled in mock serenity, oblivious to the whirlwind that had just swept through her quarters. She traced lazy circles on his abdomen, feeling the rise and fall of his breath, each inhalation a reminder of the fragile bridge they'd built between their worlds. But even in this cocoon of warmth, a restless energy stirred within her, a mix of satiation and something deeper, more insistent, like the pull of a black hole on the edge of her consciousness. Eli propped himself up on one elbow, his ocean blue eyes gleaming with a mischievous light as he brushed a strand of her hair behind her pointed ear. "That was cosmic," he said, his voice still rough from their passion, a grin tugging at his lips. "But I get the feeling this is just the beginning. What's next for the mighty Admiral Zara? Conquering my heart wasn't enough." She laughed softly, a sound rare enough to surprise even her, but the mirth didn't quite reach her eyes. Deep down, curiosity gnawed at her about him, about humanity, about what this connection could mean for her unyielding empire. "You humans and your endless questions," she teased, sitting up and wrapping a silken sheet around her curvaceous form, the fabric whispering against her pale skin like a lover's secret. Yet, as she moved, a faint alert chimed from her console, a subtle vibration that cut through the intimacy like a laser through fog. Her violet eyes narrowed, the afterglow dimming as duty reared its head. Ignoring it for a moment, she leaned in to kiss him again, savoring the taste of possibility, but the chime persisted, growing insistent, and with a sigh, she activated the display. A holographic projection flickered to life, revealing her second-in-command, Vexa, her own elf-like ears pinned back in urgency. "Admiral, apologies for the intrusion," Vexa's voice crackled, her face etched with tension. "Scans detect an incoming fleet, human signatures, closing fast on our position. They're hailing us, demanding the return of their diplomat." Zara's heart lurched, a dramatic surge of adrenaline flooding her veins. She glanced at Eli, who had sat up abruptly, his expression shifting from bliss to alertness. "Your people?" she asked, her tone laced with a thrilling edge of suspicion and intrigue. Was this a trap? Had his charm been a calculated ploy to lower her defenses? The thought sent a curious thrill through her. Mingling betrayal with the remnants of desire, Eli shook his head vehemently, his hands reaching for hers. "No, Zara, I swear. The Odyssey was on a solo mission. This must be a rescue op gone wrong. Let me talk to them. I can de-escalate." But before she could respond, the ship shuddered, a distant boom echoing through the hull as the first warning shots grazed their shields. Alarms blared, red lights pulsing like a heartbeat in panic. Zara sprang to her feet, her naked form a vision of graceful fury as she summoned her suit with a gesture. The nanotech fabric reassembled around her, hugging her curves in a seamless blend of protection and allure. "To the bridge," she commanded, her voice steel wrapped in velvet. Eli dressed hurriedly, following her through the corridors where crew members rushed to stations, their faces a mask of disciplined chaos. The bridge was a hive of activity, holographic displays swirling with tactical data, dozens of human vessels emerging from hyperspace. Their designs a patchwork of ingenuity, retrofitted freighters armed with plasma cannons, sleek fighters darting like angry hornets. Zara took her throne, her presence calming the storm as she assessed the threat. "Status," she barked, shields at full, weapons primed. An officer reported. "They're led by the UEF Vanguard. Captain Reyes commanding. Message incoming. Release Eli Voss or face annihilation. Eli stepped forward, his human frame standing tall amid the alien elegance. Let me hail them. This doesn't have to end in fire. Zara hesitated, her mind racing through scenarios, alliances shattered, empires clashing, all because of one stolen night. But curiosity won. What surprises did humanity hold now? She nodded, and the comms linked. On the view screen, Captain Reyes appeared, a stern woman with battle scars etching her face. Voss, are you compromised? I'm fine, Captain, Eli replied, his voice steady. The Zerathians saved us. This is a misunderstanding. A sudden jolt rocked the Dominion, shields flaring as a human torpedo struck true. Incoming fire, Vexa shouted. The bridge erupted in dramatic tension, officers shouting coordinates, weapons systems humming to life. Zara's fingers danced over controls, her strategies unfolding like a deadly ballet. Evasive maneuvers, target their lead ship, disable, not destroy. The battle ignited in a thrilling symphony of light and sound, Zerathian beams lancing through the void, human missiles weaving erratic paths to evade countermeasures. Zara's fleet, a coordinated beast, outmaneuvered the ragtag human armada, but the humans fought with surprising ferocity, HFY in action. Their pilots pulling stunts that defied physics, exploiting every asteroid for cover. One fighter screamed past the viewport, its pilot saluting mockingly before unleashing a barrage that buckled a secondary shield generator. Amid the chaos, Eli grabbed Zara's arm, his touch a grounding force. There's got to be a way out of this. Reyes, stand down. We're negotiating peace here. But Reyes' response was cut short by a surge of static, a curious anomaly rippling across sensors. Admiral, an officer gasped, an unknown energy signature emerging from subspace. The view screen warped, and in a surprising twist that sent shockwaves through the bridge, a third fleet materialized, sleek, crystalline vessels unlike any in Zerathian databases. Their hulls shimmered with otherworldly energy, weapons arrays glowing with malevolent intent. Hostiles unidentified, Vexa reported, her voice trembling. They're charging weapons, targeting both sides. Zara's eyes widened, the climax building to a fever pitch. Who were these interlopers? Pirates, rivals from a forgotten sector, or something more sinister? Drawn by the distress signals, the battle transformed into a three-way maelstrom, lasers crisscrossing the stars, explosions blooming like fiery flowers, a human ship vaporized in a brilliant flash, its debris pelting the Dominion's hull. Zara barked orders, her mind a whirlwind of calculations. But the thrill of the unknown pulsed through her, curious about these new foes, surprised by their audacity. Lee, ever the diplomat turned warrior, manned a console, hacking into human channels to coordinate a temporary alliance. Reyes, we fight together or die apart. He urged, miraculously. The vanguard pivoted, its guns turning on the crystalline invaders. Zara felt a surge of admiration, humanity's adaptability shining through, turning enemies into allies in the blink of an eye. As the fight raged, a crystalline beam pierced the Dominion's defenses, breaching a lower deck. Alarms wailed, atmosphere venting in a dramatic whoosh. Hull breach Section 7, someone yelled. Zara stood resolute, her white hair whipping in the sudden wind from emergency force fields. Seal it, redirect power to forward arrays. In the heart of the storm, Eli pulled her aside for a breathless moment. Zara, if we don't make it, we will, she interrupted, her violet eyes fierce, pulling him into a quick, passionate kiss that defied the surrounding peril. The gesture fueled her, a surprising anchor in the chaos. Breaking away, she commanded a bold maneuver, full thrust, ram the lead crystalline ship. The Dominion surged forward, a thrilling charge through the gauntlet of fire. Shields screamed under assault, but Zara's tactics prevailed, their prow colliding in a spectacular crunch, shattering the enemy's core. The crystalline fleet faltered, explosions chaining through their ranks in a curious cascade. Revealing a surprising weakness, their ships were linked in a hive network, one failure dooming many. As debris scattered like confetti across the void, the remaining invaders retreated into subspace, leaving silence in their wake. The human fleet held position, weapons cooling, while Zara's forces regrouped. Breathless, she turned to Eli, the dramatic high ebbing into wary relief. Who were they? She wondered aloud, curiosity burning brighter than ever. Eli shook his head, equally surprised. No idea, but whatever they were, we faced them together. The bridge crew cheered, a thrilling echo of victory. But Zara sensed this was no end, merely a prelude to greater mysteries, where alliances forged in fire might reshape the galaxy. The aftermath hung heavy, questions swirling like the debris field outside. Reyes' face reappeared on comms, her tone grudgingly respectful. "Voss, you owe me an explanation. Admiral Zara, truce." Zara nodded, her mind already plotting the next move, thrilled by the unknowns ahead, but as she glanced at Eli, a surprising warmth bloomed. Perhaps the real climax wasn't the battle, but the bond that had survived it, as the echoes of victory settled over the bridge like a fine cosmic dust. Zara's nod to Captain Reyes sealed the fragile truce, her violet eyes flickering with a mix of calculation and that newfound warmth sparked by Eli's presence. The view screen stabilized, Reyes' scarred face softening just a fraction as she acknowledged the agreement. "Truce it is, Admiral. We'll dock for talks, neutral ground on your hangar deck. No funny business." The connection severed, leaving the bridge crew in a buzz of subdued triumph, their elfin ears perking up as they exchanged glances, the air thick with the scent of overheated circuits and lingering ozone from the battle. Zara turned to Eli, her hand brushing his in a gesture meant to be discreet, but the spark it ignited was anything but. "Your people move quickly," she said, her voice a low murmur that carried an undercurrent of admiration and a hint of drama brewing in her chest. What if this alliance unraveled as swiftly as it formed? The crystalline invaders had vanished, but their shadow loomed, a thrilling enigma that promised more chaos. Eli squeezed her fingers gently, his human warmth seeping through, grounding her amid the stars. "We adapt," he replied with a wink, "especially when there's something worth fighting for." His words hung between them, laced with unspoken promises, heightening the tension that simmered just below the surface. Preparations unfolded with military precision, but not without their awkward hitches. As Zara issued orders to secure the hangar for the docking, a young ensign Naira, with her pointed ears twitching nervously, approached with a data pad. "Admiral, the human fleet's ETA is 5 minutes. Shall I prepare the formal reception protocols?" Zara nodded absently, her mind drifting to the crystalline debris field outside, sensors already probing for clues, but as Naira turned to leave, she caught sight of Eli leaning casually against a console, his torn uniform still bearing the marks of their earlier passion, a subtle rip at the collar that Zara's fingers had caused in haste. Naira's pale cheeks flushed a delicate blue, her eyes widening comically. Diplomat Voss, your attire, it's unconventional for negotiations." Eli glanced down, realizing the tear, and chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound that cut through the bridge's tension like a misplaced comet. "Battle scars," he quipped, trying to smooth the fabric. "Or should I say, passionate discussions?" Zara shot him a warning glance, but her lips twitched in reluctant amusement, the awkwardness of the moment heightening the drama of their secret liaison. How could she, the unassailable leader, explain this to her crew? Naira stammered, "I'll fetch a spare uniform," and scurried off, leaving Zara to suppress a laugh that bubbled up unexpectedly. Humor in the void, humanity's gift, turning potential embarrassment into a light-hearted interlude. The hangar bay transformed into a makeshift diplomatic arena, force fields shimmering to create a neutral zone where human and Zerathian delegates could meet. Zara stood at the forefront, her form-fitting suit reformed into a more regal variant, the iridescent material catching the lights to accentuate her curvaceous silhouette, high boots hugging her legs. A cape-like overlay adding dramatic flair. Eli positioned himself beside her, now in a borrowed Zerathian tunic that hung awkwardly on his broader frame, the sleeves a tad too short, exposing his wrists in a way that made him look like a child playing dress-up. "This feels like wearing a fancy napkin," he muttered to her, eliciting a soft snort from Zara that she quickly masked as a cough. The crew nearby exchanged puzzled looks. Zerathians weren't accustomed to such levity, especially from their goddess of war. As the human shuttle docked with a resonant thud, the drama escalated. Captain Reyes emerged first, flanked by armed guards whose bulky armor clashed with the sleek Zerathian aesthetics. She was a no-nonsense figure, her gray-streaked hair pulled back tightly, eyes scanning the bay like a predator assessing new territory. Behind her came a team of scientists and officers, carrying scanning devices that beeped curiously at the alien tech. Admiral Zara, Reyes greeted, her handshake firm, almost challengingly so. Impressive fleet. Didn't expect to be allying with the scourge of the sector so soon. Zara met her gaze steadily, but the awkward undercurrent persisted as Eli stepped forward. "Captain, good to see you in one piece. Thanks for the timely arrival, though next time, maybe lead with words instead of torpedoes." Reyes arched an eyebrow, her lips quirking in dry humor. "Voss, you look like you tumbled through a nebula. What happened to your uniform? Eli's face reddened slightly, and he scratched his head with exaggerated innocence. Long story involving heroic rescues and enthusiastic gratitude. Zara felt heat rise to her cheeks, her pointed ears pinning back in mortification. The implication hung in the air, drawing a few stifled chuckles from the human side, while her crew shifted uncomfortably, unsure how to process this human-style banter. To heighten the drama, Zara steered the conversation toward the crystalline threat, projecting holographic scans of the debris. These vessels weren't random pirates, she declared, her voice commanding attention. Their tech suggests an origin from the Void Rift, a sector we thought uninhabitable. Energy signatures match ancient legends of the Crystal Swarm, entities that consume worlds. The room tensed, murmurs rippling through both delegations. Reyes leaned in, her face grave. Our probes detected similar anomalies near Pluto. If their scouting Sol, we're all in the crosshairs. Eli added, and they timed their attack perfectly, right when we were at each other's throats. Divide and conquer. The revelation sparked a flurry of debate, drama building as theories flew. Were the crystals sentient? Engineered weapons? An ancient race awakened? Zara felt the weight of it all, her mind racing. But the awkwardness peaked when a human scientist, a lanky fellow named Theo, accidentally bumped into Vexa, spilling a data crystal that rolled under a console. "Oh, stars, sorry," Theo exclaimed, dropping to his knees to retrieve it, his rear end comically in the air as he fumbled. Vexa, flustered, bent to help, their heads nearly colliding in a slapstick moment that drew laughter from Eli. Classic human grace, he joked, lightening the mood just enough to prevent the tension from snapping. Zara rolled her eyes, but inwardly appreciated the humor. It humanized the stakes, making the alliance feel less like a cold pact and more like a shared adventure. As discussions deepened, Zara proposed a joint expedition to the Void Rift. Her proposal met with nods but laced with underlying drama. Reyes hesitated. "We'll commit ships, but trust is earned. Voss stays as liaison, keep him out of trouble." Eli grinned. "Trouble finds me, Captain." Zara's heart skipped at the thought of him remaining aboard. But the awkward reality hit, how to balance command with this budding romance under watchful eyes. During a brief recess, she pulled him into a shadowed alcove, their bodies close in the confined space. "This complicates things," she whispered, her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat accelerate. "Complicates or excites?" he teased, leaning in for a stolen kiss that was interrupted by Naira's voice over the comms. "Admiral, the delegates are reconvening. Oh, wait, is that?" The line crackled with her sudden silence, leaving Zara and Eli frozen in awkward hilarity. Lips inches apart, they burst into quiet laughter, the moment's absurdity diffusing the drama. "Your crew has impeccable timing," Eli quipped, straightening his ill-fitting tunic, returning to the group. The alliance solidified amid heightened stakes. The Crystal Swarm's potential return loomed like a storm cloud. Scouts reported faint signals from the debris, hinting at a larger hive mind coordinating attacks. Drama peaked as Zara authorized a probe launch, the device streaking into the void only to transmit back garbled warnings before going dark. "They're adapting," Eli murmured, his hand finding hers under the table in a subtle show of support. The room fell silent, the weight of impending doom tempered by the awkward. Humorous bonds forming, a Zerathian officer teaching a human how to pronounce Zerathia without mangling it, resulting in phonetic hilarity that eased nerves. By the session's end, as the human shuttle departed, Zara stood on the bridge once more, Eli at her side. The drama of the day had forged unbreakable ties, but awkward questions lingered. How deep would this go? A little humor surfaced when Eli tried Zerathian cuisine from the replicator, his face contorting at the spicy nebula bloom soup. "Tastes like victory, with a side of fire," he gasped, fanning his mouth, drawing a genuine laugh from Zara that echoed through the ship. In that light-hearted instant, amid the gathering storm, she realized humanity's true power, turning peril into play, awkwardness into affection, and alliances into something profoundly personal. Yet, as the stars resumed their eternal watch, a new alert pinged, faint crystalline echoes on the sensors, drawing closer. The drama wasn't over. It was just beginning to unfold in ways that would test every bond they'd built. As the faint crystalline echoes on the sensors grew from a whisper to a persistent hum, Zara's bridge crew sprang into action once more, their movements a well-oiled symphony of efficiency. The stars outside the viewport seemed to hold their breath, the debris field from the earlier skirmish still glittering like scattered jewels in the void. Zara stood firm at her command throne, her violet eyes locked on the tactical display, where red blips materialized like ghosts emerging from the shadows. "Enhance scans," she ordered, her voice steady despite the knot of tension coiling in her chest. Eli remained by her side, his presence a reassuring anchor, his hand subtly brushing hers in a silent vow of solidarity. The alliance with the humans was fresh, fragile, but in this moment, it felt like the only shield against the encroaching unknown. "Admiral, the signals are fragmented, possibly scouts probing our defenses," Vexer reported, her fingers flying over her console. The drama of the day had already tested them, but this new threat heightened the stakes, turning relief into readiness. Zara weighed her options: engage head-on and risk escalation, or retreat and regroup with the human fleet. Eli leaned in, his breath warm against her ear. "We could lure them into the asteroid belt, use the terrain like we did before, together." His suggestion carried weight, born from human ingenuity, and she nodded, appreciating how their bond had evolved from stolen kisses to strategic synergy. But as orders rippled through the fleet, a secondary alert flashed, internal systems detecting anomalies in the lower decks, possibly residual damage from the breach. "Naira, take a team and investigate," Zara commanded. The young ensign saluted, her earlier awkwardness forgotten in the heat of duty, with the immediate crisis delegated. Zara felt the weight of command pressing heavier, her mind yearning for a brief respite. She glanced at Eli, the memory of their earlier intimacy flickering like a distant star, igniting a spark that refused to dim even amid peril. "Come with me," she murmured, leading him away from the bridge under the guise of a private briefing. The corridors dimmed as they walked, emergency lighting casting soft glows that danced along her white hair and the curves of her form-fitting suit. They slipped into her quarters, the doors sealing with a hush that isolated them from the chaos outside. The room, still carrying the faint scent of their previous encounter, felt like a sanctuary, a bubble where the galaxy's threats couldn't penetrate. Zara turned to him, her pale skin flushed not from battle, but from the pull she felt toward this human who had upended her world. "The stars test us," she said softly, stepping closer, her hands resting on his chest, feeling the steady rhythm beneath. Eli's eyes darkened with understanding, his arms encircling her waist in a way that made her body respond instinctively. A gentle heat building where they touched. In the quiet, the drama of the external threat faded, replaced by a more personal intensity. Zara's fingers traced the lines of his borrowed tunic, slowly undoing the fastenings, revealing the warm skin underneath. He mirrored her actions, his touch reverent as he peeled away the layers of her suit, the fabric sliding off like silk over water, exposing the elegant lines of her body, the swell of her hips, the soft curve of her breasts, her pointed ears twitching at the cool air. There was no rush, only a deliberate exploration that heightened every sensation, their breaths mingling in the space between them. Eli's lips found her neck, pressing soft kisses that sent shivers cascading down her spine, his hands roaming with a tenderness that spoke of care rather than conquest. She guided him to the bed, their bodies intertwining in a dance as old as the stars themselves. The connection was deeper now, fueled by the shared victories and uncertainties, each movement an affirmation of their growing bond. Zara arched under his touch, her body yielding to the waves of pleasure that built slowly, like a nebula coalescing into brilliance. He whispered words of affection, calling her strong, beautiful, in ways that made her heart swell. Their union a blend of passion and intimacy that blurred the lines between species. The rhythm they found was harmonious, bodies moving in sync, each caress and sigh drawing them closer to a shared peak of ecstasy. In those moments, the world outside ceased to exist, the crystalline threats, the alliances, the wars all dissolved into the warmth of their embrace, leaving only the profound joy of being truly seen and cherished. As they reached the height of their connection, Zara felt a release that washed over her like a cosmic wave, her form trembling in his arms. Matched by his own culmination in a moment of pure, unspoken unity, they lingered in the afterglow, bodies entwined, breaths slowing as reality gently intruded. Eli traced patterns on her back, his voice a low rumble. "Whatever comes next, we face it like this together." Zara smiled against his shoulder, her violet eyes softening, the drama of the galaxy feeling manageable with him by her side. But the respite was short-lived. A soft chime from the console pulled them back. Vex's voice filtered through. "Admiral, the anomalies are cleared, minor sabotage from crystal shards embedded in the hull, but the scouts are closing in. Your orders." Zara sat up, her white hair tousled in a way that made Eli grin appreciatively. She dressed swiftly, the suit reforming around her with seamless grace, while he followed suit, the awkward fit of his tunic now a fond reminder of their differences. "Prepare for engagement," she responded over the comms. "We'll draw them out." Returning to the bridge, the air crackled with renewed focus. The crystalline scouts, sleek, shard-like vessels pulsing with ethereal light, danced on the edges of sensors, their movements erratic and probing. Zara orchestrated the response with her trademark precision. Deploying decoys into the asteroid field to lure them in, Eli contributed insights from human tactics, suggesting feints that mimicked Earth's guerrilla warfare, adding layers to their strategy. The fleet maneuvered, a dramatic ballet in the void, tensions rising as the first scout took the bait, its crystalline hull reflecting laser fire like a prism. Explosions lit the darkness, the scouts shattering in cascades of glittering fragments that harmlessly dispersed. But one vessel broke through, latching onto a Zerathian frigate with tendrils of energy, siphoning power in a surprising display of adaptability. "Boarding protocols," Zara shouted, her heart pounding as teams mobilized. The drama escalated, crew members repelling crystalline drones that materialized like living ice, their forms sharp and relentless. Eli grabbed a sidearm, joining the fray via remote feeds, his human resolve shining through as he coordinated with Reyes' reinforcements, who jumped in just in time. The battle's climax came when Zara personally led a counter-boarding party, her suit augmented for combat, weaving through corridors alive with energy clashes. Eli insisted on accompanying her, their synergy evident as they fought back-to-back, he with brute force and clever hacks, she with elegant strikes that dismantled drones with precision. A particularly large crystal entity loomed, its core humming with malevolent intelligence. But together they exploited a flaw, overloading its matrix with a combined human Zerathian frequency burst. It shattered in a spectacular burst. The frigate saved, the scouts routed. In the aftermath, as repairs commenced and the fleet regrouped, Zara and Eli shared a quiet moment on the observation deck. The stars wheeled overhead, a reminder of the vastness they navigated. "You were incredible out there," he said, pulling her close. She leaned into him, the intimacy of their earlier time together lingering like a warm undercurrent. "As were you, humanity's spirit. It's infectious." Their lips met in a gentle kiss, sealing the bond forged in fire and affection. Yet, deeper scans revealed a troubling pattern. The crystalline incursions were increasing, hinting at a larger hive mobilizing. Drama built as reports from human outposts confirmed similar probes near Sol. Zara convened a holographic council with Reyes, the alliance strengthening amid shared resolve. Awkward moments arose when Eli's crew teased him about his extended diplomacy, drawing laughs that bridged cultural gaps. Zara found herself chuckling too, the humor a balm against the tension, as night cycles simulated aboard the Dominion. Zara retired to her quarters with Eli, the day's victories kindling a desire to celebrate life amid uncertainty. They undressed slowly, savoring the anticipation, bodies coming together in a tender exploration that reaffirmed their connection. Hands roamed with familiarity now, touches igniting sparks that built to a crescendo of shared bliss. Their union a quiet rebellion against the cold void. In the glow afterward, they whispered plans for the future, dreams of peace, of worlds united, while the sensors hummed softly. Vigilant, the next alert came at dawn simulation, pulling them back to duty. But fortified by their intimacy, they faced it head-on, the plot of their story weaving ever tighter, as the dawn simulation bathed the stellar dominion in a soft, artificial glow. The next alert pierced the tranquility like a shard of ice through warm silk. Zara and Eli emerged from her quarters, their steps synchronized in a rhythm born of shared secrets and battles won, her hand lingering on his arm just a moment longer than protocol allowed. The bridge awaited them, alive with the low murmur of consoles and the focused energy of her crew, who had grown accustomed to the human's presence, some with wary glances, others with subtle nods of respect. Vex's report came swiftly as they entered. "Admiral, long-range sensors confirm a massive crystalline formation emerging from the void rift. It's not a fleet, it's a singularity. A hive core pulsing with energy levels off the charts. Projected arrival in 2 hours." Zara's violet eyes sharpened, absorbing the data holograms that swirled before her like ethereal storms. The twist of fate felt almost poetic, just as their alliance solidified. The true heart of the threat revealed itself. Eli studied the displays beside her, his brow furrowing in that human way that conveyed both concern and determination. "This changes everything," he said, his voice steady. If that's their queen bee, taking it out could end the incursions for good, but getting close, it'll be suicide without a plan. Zara nodded, her mind already weaving strategies, drawing on the synergy they'd built. She issued commands with fluid authority, coordinate with the vanguard. We'll form a pincer assault, Zerathian precision strikes from the flanks, human unpredictability at the core. The crew responded seamlessly, the ship humming to life as engines powered up, shields reinforcing in anticipation. As preparations intensified, Zara pulled Eli into a side chamber for a quick holobrief with Captain Reyes. The human leader's image flickered to life, her expression a mask of grim resolve. We've analyzed the shards from the scouts, Reyes shared. Their composition matches ancient artifacts from Earth's Kuiper Belt, remnants of a long-lost civilization, perhaps activated by our expansions. The revelation added layers to the drama, linking the crystalline menace to humanity's own backyard. But Zara sensed deeper currents. Then we strike as one, she affirmed, ending the call with a strategic outline that blended their strengths. Back on the bridge, the fleet aligned, a majestic array of Zerathian elegance and human grit hurtling toward the rift. The journey built tension like a warp field charging, stars blurring into streaks as they approached the anomaly, a swirling vortex of dark matter laced with crystalline veins. Zara stood at the viewport, her white hair catching the eerie light filtering through, her curvaceous form outlined in the glow of impending conflict. Eli joined her, his hand finding the small of her back in a gesture of quiet support. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "I'm glad it's with you." She turned, their lips meeting in a brief, fervent kiss that sealed their resolve, the intimacy a shield against the void's chill. But as they parted, a subtle anomaly caught her eye, a faint signal buried in the sensor noise, emanating not from the rift, but from within her own ship. Dismissing it as battle static at first, Zara refocused on the assault. The hive core loomed ahead, a colossal orb of interlocking crystals pulsing with bioluminescent fury, tendrils extending like predatory limbs. "Engage," she commanded, and the battle erupted in a symphony of chaos. Zerathian beams sliced through the void, shattering peripheral shards, while human fighters darted in erratic patterns, unleashing torpedoes that exploded in brilliant cascades. The core retaliated, energy waves rippling out to disrupt shields, forcing evasive maneuvers that tested every pilot's skill. One Zerathian vessel took a direct hit, its hull fracturing in a dramatic spray of debris, but the crew evacuated in pods, their survival a testament to disciplined training. Eli manned a tactical station, his inputs proving invaluable, suggesting frequency modulations that jammed the core's defenses, allowing a human squadron to breach its outer layer. "Push forward," Zara urged, her voice cutting through the din. The Dominion led the charge, weaving through a gauntlet of crystalline drones that swarmed like angry insects. Laser fire crisscrossed the stars, explosions blooming in silent fireballs, the thrill of combat pulsing through her veins. Yet, that anomalous signal persisted, growing stronger, a nagging whisper in the back of her mind. She tasked Naira with tracing it. Isolate and report could be sabotage. As the assault intensified, the core's defenses cracked, revealing a vulnerable nexus at its heart, a glowing chamber that thrummed with raw power. "That's our target," Eli exclaimed, eyes alight with strategy. Zara authorized a boarding team, selecting her finest warriors, including Vexa, to infiltrate and plant charges. Eli volunteered, his determination unwavering. "I'm with them, human tech might interface differently." Zara hesitated, the drama of sending him into danger twisting her gut, but she acquiesced, equipping him with a Zerathian exosuit that molded to his frame, accentuating his broad shoulders in a blend of alien elegance and human ruggedness. The shuttle launched amid covering fire, docking precariously on the core surface. Inside, the team navigated crystalline corridors that shifted like living mazes, walls humming with alien intelligence. Vex's scans guided them, but ambushes came swift, drones materializing from facets, forcing close-quarters combat. Eli fought with surprising prowess, his sidearm modified to emit disruptive pulses, shattering attackers in sprays of glittering dust. "This way," he called, leading them deeper, his instincts honing in on the nexus. Back on the Dominion, Zara monitored via live feeds, her pointed ears attuned to every transmission. The anomalous signal spiked, now pinpointed to Eli's communicator. Her heart skipped, confusion blooming into suspicion. Naira enhanced that trace. The ensign's report came hesitantly. It's an encrypted burst originating from the human's device, syncing with the core's frequency. Zara's world tilted, the pieces falling into a horrifying pattern. Was Eli the saboteur, the one who'd charmed his way into her heart, only to betray? The team reached the nexus, a cavernous chamber where energy coalesced in a swirling vortex. But as they prepared the charges, the core's defenses activated a holographic entity manifesting, its form shifting between crystalline facets and a familiar silhouette. Eli froze, his face paling. No, it can't be. The hologram solidified into a projection of a human figure, older, with features eerily similar to Eli's, but twisted by cybernetic enhancements. Son, the voice boomed, echoing through the chamber and back to the bridge via feeds. You've done well leading them here. Zara's breath caught, the powerful twist slamming into her like a supernova blast. Eli wasn't just a diplomat, he was the unwitting pawn of a greater conspiracy. The entity revealed itself as Dr. Voss, Eli's presumed dead father, a brilliant Earth scientist who'd vanished decades ago during an expedition to the Kuiper Belt. I merged with the crystal hive. The hologram explained, its tone a chilling mix of paternal pride and mechanical coldness. Humanity's expansion awakened us, but I saw potential symbiosis. You, Eli, carried my beacon, drawing allies to assimilate. Eli staggered back, horror etching his features. Dad, you used me, all this time. The surprise rippled through the team, Vexa whirling on Eli with weapons raised. Traitor, she hissed, but Eli protested. His voice breaking, I didn't know, the signal it must have been implanted without my awareness. On the bridge, Zara's mind reeled, the betrayal cutting deeper than any laser, the man she'd opened her heart to, the one who'd called her adorable and fought by her side, now the vector of their potential doom. Drama surged as the core's tendrils extended, attempting to ensnare the boarding party. While the hive mind broadcast its ultimatum, join the collective or perish, Zara acted swiftly, her voice commanding over comms, evacuate now, overload the charges remotely. But the twist deepened, the signal from Eli's device had already begun interfacing, the core adapting to Zerathian and human tech, shields reforming stronger. Eli, in a desperate bid for redemption, turned on the hologram. I won't let you use me. He fired his disruptor into the nexus, sparks flying as systems faltered. The team fought their way out, drones crumbling under combined fire, but the core pulsed erratically, stability compromised. As the shuttle raced back, explosions chaining through the hive, Zara grappled with the revelation. Eli's father, now a hybrid entity, had orchestrated the incursions to force a convergence. Viewing it as evolution, the surprise lay in Eli's innocence. Scans confirmed the implant was dormant, activated only upon proximity, a sleeper agent without his knowledge. Yet, trust fractured. Zara met the returning team in the hangar, her expression a storm of emotions. Eli approached, remorse etched deep. Zara, I swear, I had no idea. He must have done it during my childhood experiments. She held back, violet eyes searching his. Your own father, the architect of this nightmare. The twist reshaped everything, their romance, the alliance, the war into a personal saga of legacy and deception. As the core detonated in a distant blaze, scattering the hive's influence, questions lingered. Were there more implants? Could Dr. Voss's consciousness survive? The galaxy felt smaller, more treacherous, but in Eli's pained gaze, Zara saw a chance for truth to mend what surprise had shattered. The fleet regrouped, repairs underway, but the powerful revelation hung heavy, surprising alliances tested to their core. Zara pulled Eli aside, their conversation charged with raw honesty. We uncover the full truth together, she decided, her hand clasping his, forgiveness tentative but real. The twist had surprised them all, but in its wake, their bond emerged stronger, forged in the fires of unexpected betrayal and unwavering resolve. As Zara's hand clasped Eli's in the dimly lit alcove off the hangar, the warmth of his skin against hers served as a fragile tether amid the swirling debris of revelation and rubble outside. The core's detonation still echoed in distant sensor pings, fragments of crystal scattering like defeated dreams across the void. But the victory felt hollow, laced with the sting of betrayal's shadow. She searched his eyes, those ocean depths now stormy with remorse, and whispered, together, then, but no more secrets. Eli, the stars have witnessed enough deception. He nodded solemnly, pulling her into a brief embrace that lingered just long enough to stir the embers of their passion, a reminder that amid the chaos, their connection remained a beacon. Yet, as they stepped back into the bustling hangar, The drama of the moment amplified, crew members casting sidelong glances, whispers rippling like aftershocks, questioning the humans' role in this galactic upheaval. The bridge summoned them with urgent chimes. Vex's voice crackling over the intercom. Admiral, post-detonation scans show residual hive signals, faint, but persistent, and Captain Reyes is hailing for a debrief. She's insistent. Zara straightened her suit, the fabric hugging her curves with unyielding grace, and led Eli forward, their strides in sync but heavy with unspoken tension. The drama heightened as they entered the command center, holographic displays flickering with anomalous readings that suggested Dr. Voss's consciousness might have fragmented, dispersing into subclusters rather than vanishing entirely. "He's like a virus," Eli muttered, his face paling as he reviewed the data. "My own father," turning the galaxy into his playground. Zara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, but the gesture felt charged, drawing awkward stares from the crew. Naira, in particular, averting her eyes with a flush, as if recalling the earlier interruptions to their private moments. Reyes' hologram materialized, larger than life, her stern features etched with fatigue and suspicion. "Admiral Voss, report. Our sensors caught that family reunion. Care to explain how Earth's lost genius became a crystal overlord?" The question hung heavy, heightening the drama as Eli stepped forward, his voice steady but laced with raw emotion. "He was presumed dead after a classified mission. I was just a kid. Experiments, he called them. Implants for enhanced cognition. I never knew." Reyes' eyes narrowed, the awkwardness peaking as she probed deeper. "And you brought this ticking bomb aboard an alien flagship. Cozy setup, Voss. Hope the diplomacy wasn't too personal." Eli's cheeks reddened, and Zara felt her pointed ears warm, the implication landing like an ill-timed asteroid. Naira, monitoring comms nearby, let out an inadvertent snort, quickly masking it as a cough, adding a spark of humor to the tension. "Humans and their euphemisms," Vexa murmured under her breath, eliciting a reluctant chuckle from an officer. Lightening the air just enough to prevent it from cracking, Zara interjected smoothly, steering the conversation toward strategy to diffuse the awkward undercurrents. "The past is prologue, Captain. What's crucial now is containing the fragments. Our combined fleets can sweep the rift, neutralize the subclusters before they reform." Reyes grunted in agreement, but the drama escalated when she added, "Fine, but I'm sending a team aboard the Dominion for joint ops, including our chief medic, to scan Voss here. Make sure there are no more surprises lurking in that human skull." Eli tensed, his hand brushing Zara's subtly under the console, a silent plea amid the growing discomfort. The idea of humans poking around her ship, examining the man she'd grown to trust and desire, stirred a protective fire in her chest, but she acquiesced, knowing refusal would fracture the alliance. The human team arrived via shuttle, a motley group led by Dr. Mira, a sharp-eyed Zerathian name-alike from Earth with a no-nonsense demeanor and a toolkit that hummed with advanced scanners. The docking bay became a stage for awkward encounters, Mira greeting Zara with a formal bow that accidentally clipped Naira's elbow, sending a data pad skittering across the floor. "Apologies, Admiral, Earth gravity makes me clumsy in 0G. Mira quipped, bending to retrieve it with exaggerated care, her lab coat flaring comically like a cape in the artificial breeze. Eli laughed outright, the sound breaking the ice. But Zara suppressed a smile, her regal poise masking the humor bubbling beneath. "Proceed with the scan," she directed, leading them to a medical bay where the drama intensified. Eli lay on the examination table, shirt removed to expose his toned chest, scars from old adventures mapping his skin like constellations, while Mira's scanner hovered. Beeping rhythmically, Zara stood nearby, her presence both commanding and intimate, her violet eyes fixed on him with a mix of concern and lingering affection. The awkwardness hit when the device pinged anomalously over his temple, residual neural link detected dormant, but traceable to the hive. Eli sat up abruptly. "Get it out, whatever it takes." Mira hesitated, explaining the procedure involved a mild sedative and precise extraction, but the room grew tense as Vexa entered with updates. Subclusters mobilizing, 3 heading toward Sol's outer colonies. The timing couldn't be worse, heightening the drama as Zara weighed delaying the fleet's departure for Eli's surgery. Humor crept in during the prep. Eli, under the sedative's early effects, mumbled groggily, "Zara, you're still adorable, even when you're about to dissect my brain." Mira raised an eyebrow, glancing between them. "Adorable. That's a new one for a fleet leader." Zara's pale skin flushed, her pointed ears twitching in embarrassment, while Naira, assisting with instruments, stifled a giggle. Humans say the darndest things under meds, Mira added with a wink, turning the moment into light-hearted banter that eased the strain. Yet, beneath it, drama simmered. What if the extraction triggered a hive response? What if Dr. Voss's essence lingered, manipulating from afar? The procedure unfolded with surgical precision. Mira's tools delving into the neural implant, a tiny crystal shard embedded like a forgotten thorn. As it was removed, Eli winced, but Zara held his hand. Her touch a lifeline. Alarms blared midway, subcluster proximity alerts, forcing Zara to divide her attention, barking orders via comms to deploy interceptors. The fleet engaged remotely, beams lancing through space to shatter the advancing threats, explosions visible on external feeds like distant fireworks. Vexor reported victories, but one subcluster evaded, slipping toward a Zerathian outpost, heightening the stakes as Zara coordinated countermeasures from the med bay. Awkwardness peaked post-extraction when Eli, recovering, sat up too quickly, his borrowed pants slipping comically low, exposing a glimpse of his hip. "Whoa, steady there," Mira teased, tossing him a blanket with a grin. "Can't have the Admiral's favorite human flashing the crew." Zara rolled her eyes, but the humor diffused her worry, drawing a soft laugh from her that surprised even Vexa. "Focus, Doctor," she chided lightly, though her gaze on Eli softened, the bond reaffirming amid the chaos. With the implant neutralized, scans confirming no further links, the group reconvened on the bridge. Drama built as deeper analyses revealed Dr. Voss's plan, not conquest, but forced evolution. Viewing the merger as salvation for a stagnating galaxy. "He thought he was saving us," Eli said bitterly, clenching his fists. Rays, via Holo, proposed a bold strike on the rift source, a hidden nexus world to end the threat permanently. "But it'll require everything we've got," she warned. Zara agreed, her mind racing through logistics. The alliance now a crucible of trust tested by personal revelations. As fleets aligned for the assault, awkward situations arose in joint briefings. A human engineer mispronouncing Zerathian terms, leading to hilarious mistranslations, like calling the Dominion a stellar donkey, drawing chuckles that bridged gaps. Zara found herself defending Eli to skeptical officers, her authoritative tone masking the vulnerability of her feelings. In a stolen moment, she pulled him aside, their bodies close in a supply alcove. "You carry his shadow, but you're not him," she whispered, her lips brushing his in a kiss that reignited their fire. He responded with fervor, hands roaming her waist, but an untimely klaxon interrupted. Naira's voice apologetic. "Admiral, the Nexus probe is ready. Oh, stars, not again." They parted laughing, the humor a shield against the mounting drama. The assault launched with heart-pounding intensity, ships diving into the rift, navigating turbulent energies that tossed vessels like leaves in a storm. Crystalline guardians emerged, massive sentinels defending the Nexus world, a planetoid of living crystal humming with collective intelligence. Battles raged, shields flaring under assault, human fighters pulling daring loops to flank enemies while Zerathian precision dismantled key nodes. Drama crested when a sentinel targeted the Dominion, its beam grazing the hull, venting atmosphere from non-essential sections. "Hold steady," Zara commanded, her crew's loyalty shining through panic. Eli, now cleared and at her side, hacked into hive frequencies using insights from his implant's data, disrupting communications in a pivotal move. "Got him scrambling," he exclaimed, but the awkward truth hit, echoes of his father's voice filtered through, pleading for understanding. "Son, join me, evolution awaits." Eli shut it down with a fierce keystroke, tears in his eyes, heightening the emotional stakes. Humor surfaced amid the turmoil when a human pilot's comms crackled. "These crystals fight like my ex, pretty but prickly." The quip drew tense laughs, keeping morale afloat, as they breached the Nexus, landing teams deploying. Zara led the ground assault personally, her suit augmented, white hair tied back. Curvaceous form moving with lethal grace through crystalline spires, Eli by her side. They confronted the core intelligence, a massive chamber where Dr. Voss's hybrid form manifested, a towering figure of flesh and crystal. "You could have been part of this," it intoned, voice a distorted echo. The drama peaked in a standoff, Voss unleashing energy waves that forced dodges and counters. Zara's strikes elegant, Eli's resourceful, using a human grenade to crack the armor. In a surprising turn, Voss revealed a final plea. "The merger saved me from death, it can save worlds from entropy." But Eli Voice-breaking, rejected it, not at the cost of free will. With coordinated fire, they shattered the core, planetoid quaking as systems collapsed. Evacuation was frantic, ships fleeing as the world imploded in a spectacular vortex, sucking remnants into oblivion. Back aboard, as repairs commenced and celebrations brewed, Zara and Eli shared a quiet deck overlook. The drama of the day had forged them anew, awkward secrets laid bare, humor weaving through hardships. To truths uncovered. He toasted with replicated wine, clinking glasses, she smiled, leaning in, and to adorable humans who upend empires. Their laughter echoed, a promise of futures intertwined, as the stars bore witness to resilience born of love and levity. As the echoes of their laughter faded into the soft hum of the Stellar Dominion's engines, Zara and Eli lingered on the observation deck, the replicated wine glasses still warm in their hands, the stars outside stretching into infinity like threads of destiny woven anew. The Nexus world's implosion had sent shockwaves through the rift, sealing it in a cascade of collapsing energies that sensors confirmed as permanent. No more crystalline whispers, no lingering fragments of Dr. Voss's twisted vision. The galaxy breathed easier. Alliances forged in the crucible of conflict, now standing as pillars of a tentative peace. Zara set her glass aside, turning to Eli with a gaze that held the weight of battles won and hearts claimed. Truths uncovered. Indeed, she murmured, her violet eyes reflecting the starlight, her white hair cascading like a veil of moonlight over her shoulders. In that moment, the drama of their journey felt like a distant nebula, beautiful in its chaos but finally at rest. Eli reached for her hand, his fingers intertwining with hers in a grip that spoke of futures rather than farewells. "And what about us?" he asked softly, his voice carrying the earthy timbre that had first disarmed her defenses. The question hung between them, laden with the remnants of awkward secrets and hard-earned trust. Zara stepped closer, her curvaceous form pressing against him in a way that reignited the spark they'd nurtured through fire and void. "Us," she echoed, a smile curving her lips, a rare, genuine expression that softened the edges of her warrior's poise. A human and a Zerathian admiral, who would have scripted such a tale. He chuckled, pulling her into an embrace that enveloped her in his warmth, the scent of him mingling with the faint ozone of the ship, a blend as intoxicating as their first kiss. The days that followed blurred into a symphony of reconstruction and renewal. The combined fleets patrolled the rift's fringes, ensuring no echoes of the hive persisted, while diplomatic envoys shuttled between Zerathia and Earth, weaving treaties that promised shared stars and mutual horizons. Zara found herself navigating not just cosmic maps, but the intricate dance of emotions, learning to balance command with vulnerability. Her crew witnessing subtle shifts, a shared glance with Eli during briefings, a quiet dinner in her quarters where laughter flowed as freely as strategies once had. Awkward moments arose, of course. Naira once burst into a meeting with urgent reports, only to find them mid-kiss, stammering apologies that dissolved into shared grins. Humans are contagious, Vexa teased later, her own pointed ears twitching in amusement. The humor a bridge that humanized the once impenetrable Admiral. On Earth, Eli introduced Zara to his world, a blue marble teeming with life that contrasted Zerathia's crystalline spires. They walked hand in hand through bustling cities where skyscrapers pierced clouds, her elegant suit drawing stares, her elf-like ears hidden under a hood at first, then revealed with pride as curiosity turned to admiration. "You're a sensation," Eli whispered during a formal reception, where dignitaries from the United Earth Federation toasted their heroism. Zara blushed, unaccustomed to the spotlight beyond battlefields, but his arm around her waist grounded her. That night, under a canopy of terrestrial stars, they shared a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking oceans that whispered eternal rhythms. "Your planet, it's chaotic, vibrant," she said, leaning against him. "Like you," he kissed her temple, his lips lingering. "And yours is ordered, majestic like the woman who commands it." Their intimacy deepened in these stolen interludes, bodies coming together with a familiarity that spoke of souls aligned. In the privacy of an earthbound suite, Zara shed her suit, her pale skin glowing under soft lights, her form a canvas of grace and strength that Eli worshipped with tender touches. Their union was a celebration, slow explorations giving way to fervent rhythms, moans echoing like distant thunder, culminating in waves of bliss that left them entwined, breathless and content. "Adorable," he teased afterward, tracing her pointed ear, drawing a playful swat from her. "Irresistible," she countered, pulling him close again, their laughter mingling with sighs. the physical bond a mirror to the emotional one they'd forged. Yet, the story's threads wove toward closure with poignant reflections. Eli confronted his father's legacy in archived labs, sifting through old holos where Dr. Voss appeared not as a monster, but a man driven by fear of obsolescence. He wanted to save everything. Eli confided one evening, staring at a faded image. Zara held him, her presence a balm, and in his way, he brought us together. A twisted gift, but one we'll honor by choosing differently, freedom over fusion. They established a joint research initiative, blending Zerathian tech with human innovation to explore the stars ethically, ensuring no one repeated Voss's errors. HFY tales spread through the galaxy, humanity's audacious spirit, turning betrayal into triumph, charming even the mightiest aliens. As cycles turned, Zara and Eli's paths converged fully. She relinquished partial command to Vexa, embracing a role as ambassador, her fleet a symbol of unity rather than conquest. They married in a ceremony blending traditions, Zerathian crystals glowing under Earth's sun, vows exchanged in dual languages, rings forged from Nexus shards as reminders of resilience. Guests from both worlds cheered, Rays raising a toast with dry wit. From torpedoes to toasts, who knew diplomacy could be so romantic. Laughter rippled, awkward cultural mishaps like a Zerathian elder mistaking cake for a weapon adding levity to the joy. In their shared quarters aboard a new hybrid vessel, the Aurora's dawn, Zara and Eli built a life amid the stars. Mornings began with coffee, his ritual, now hers, discussing explorations of uncharted worlds. Evenings ended in each other's arms, bodies and hearts aligned. The intimacy a constant flame. One such night, as they lay watching nebulae swirl, Zara whispered, "You fumbled my defenses with a single word." Eli smiled, pulling her closer, "And you conquered mine with your strength. Humanity, fuck yeah, and Zerathia too." Their story became legend, the cosmic fleet leader who found love in a human's charm, proving that in the vast expanse, connections bridged even the deepest voids. As the Aurora ventured forth, carrying dreams of a united galaxy, Zara and Eli faced the unknown hand in hand, their ending not a close, but an eternal beginning, two souls, once divided by stars, now eternally entwined in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. And so, in the endless dance of the stars, Zara and Eli's love became a beacon for all species, proving that even the mightiest hearts can be won by a simple word and unbreakable spirit. HFY forever? As the storyteller, I absolutely loved crafting this tale. It's a perfect blend of epic sci-fi action, heartfelt romance, and that irresistible HFY vibe that celebrates humanity's charm. What do you think? Would you want to see Zara and Eli in a sequel adventure? Thank you so much for watching and joining this cosmic journey. Your likes, subs, comments, and shares mean the world. They are the ultimate fuel to create even more amazing stories. Hit that button and let's keep the adventure going.